Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Joining me, as always, for my co-host from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Rebellious D and Double OT, terrific Trav. How you fellas doing today?
Woo! Back in action.
Ready to rock.
Hey, we got the whole team here. You know, D, last time, you were trapped in the Speed Force. Like, tell us, how was it being trapped in there, man?
I went back in time and saw my mom, and I almost didn't make it back, thanks.
Hey, well,
here I am.
Wow. There he is.
I'm happy that you made it here, man. I'm surprised that you didn't change anything in the past, because you could have changed it from Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks to Leveling Up with Double OT.
Well, let's just say Mr. Dabney
I like it.
is a thing of the past.
Leveling up with oot.
Oot.
Oh my God. But yeah, joining us today, we have a very special guest. And, I'm just really excited to finally be interviewing her, because she is so busy and like her hustle game is strong. Like, she does so much. She's going to cons, voice acting. Like, you've heard her in some of your favorite video games, Genshin Impact. You heard her in some of your favorite animes, Hunter x Hunter, one of mine personally, Jojo Bizarre Adventure. And that is Laila Berzins. Laila, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm okay. Yeah.
That's when we cut on the humidifier. You get the crowd in the background.
That's right.
It's like, I feel like whenever I'm hyping up our guests, I feel like the announcer when the 96 Bulls were playing and like they were just announcing everybody. And then when they got to Michael Jordan, it's just like the crowd went wild. So yeah, so thank you so much, Laila.
How are you doing? Adequate. Slightly above average. I am doing all right. We're doing the best we can there.
But no, like I said, like I'm excited to finally have you up here. And before we get into today's interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that
smash that like button.
There you go. That's D's
I got some help this week. Yes, called in the reinforcements.
Yeah, or D, take it away, like you say every time.
Hey, follow, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, listening. Podcast episodes found in the description.
Hey, Trav, your tip of the day.
Hey, when the room getting a little hot, you turn on the humidifier.
Saw that coming.
Cool it off. That's right.
Cool it down, like new edition. I love it.
That's right.
So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So Laila, the first question that I ask every guest that we have up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one, so tell everybody who you are.
Well, it began on a cold night in December.
Yes.
So I grew up in Connecticut, in West Hartford, Connecticut, and I've kind of been an entertainer since I was a kid. Like basically ages 5 or 6, I was doing wanted to do the leads and plays, and I was doing musicals and things like that. Like my joke is that I was like singing and dancing out of the womb, like I gotta zazz the crowd, like
singing in the rain for real.
That's right. And I was too busy. I was born 5 weeks early just so I could perform early. I had shows to do. Deadlines to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been a theater nerd. Growing up, musical theater and stage theater, and did some improv classes, and all that jazz, and went to University of Connecticut. Graduated from there, 2 years at Wheaton College and 2 years at UConn. And I thought, before I knew I could study voiceover, I thought maybe got a communications degree and I took a lot of theater classes. I thought maybe I'll work in creative development at Nickelodeon or something, be in children's programming, do something production assistant based. And then 2 years after graduating college, when I was in one of my survival jobs, doing an admin position for a health insurance company, one of my mom's friends who worked in radio was like, you should tell your daughter about Edge Studios in New York. And I was like, what's that? And she's like, you can take classes in voiceover. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's kind of how it started. And then from there, I was, listening to podcasts and taking web, classes, going into the city on the weekends or whenever, or during the week for auditions. Networking on LinkedIn after my day job to try to make connections when I didn't have any agents. Eventually I got a mentor, which is Roy Yokelson of Antland Productions, and he is an audio guru. He's worked on everything from All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 to movies with Woody Allen. He's worked with, I mean, it's the whole gamut of live action and animation he's done. And so I started in December of 2008 studying, and then I had a couple demos done. My animation demo was done by Roy, and he sent it off to one of his friends over at Disney. And they said, we'd like to have Laila come out for a week for like a general audition. This was back when you could actually go do a general audition. They give you some scripts, you read, it becomes like a demo, on their roster, so to speak. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to be out in LA for a week, I'm going to milk that week for all it's worth. So I, scheduled a general at Nickelodeon, and scheduled meetings with voice actors I admired, like Dave Fennoy. I went to women in animation meetings to meet new people. Ended up finding somebody who helped me find my first home, like on the second or third day. So long story short, I did the general at Disney with one of the casting people who knew folks over at Atlas, and she says, "What's your goal?" And I said, "My goal is to get a pinky toe in the door so I can move out here." So that was on a Monday. By Wednesday, I had an email from Atlas saying, we'll put you on trial. We can't promise anything, but we can give you, auditions for a few months. And I said, give me a month. So I will move. I was like, oh, my whole life just changed. And so I was like, all right, I got, I moved out here in May of 2013 and never looked back. No, I was Uber driving on the weekends, really late hours. I was pet sitting. I was doing everything I could. Like the first few years were really, really tough. It was the roller coaster. I was competitive for Connecticut, but not for LA. Like I had a lot to learn, a lot of humbling myself to do. Like I had to just I took as many classes and workshops and met with as many people as I possibly could. And, there were times when I called to my family. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know. But, I'm stubborn and I stuck with it. Thank goodness I did, because, after a while, I started getting full-time work, and now I have 8 agents, different regions, and I have regular clients, and I'm working in all different genres: cartoon, narration, anime, explainer, video games, creatures, ADR, all those different things. And it's, I can't say anything other than this was like literally my dream, and it has come true. So I'm forever grateful for that, and still hustling every day, because I know nothing is guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. You still have to audition all day, every day, if you want to keep things going. But that's kind of, the bare bones of it. And when I tell people, like, because I've been doing this 14 years now, it wasn't until like maybe the 8th or 9th year in my career that I started getting the really big projects, like the Disney, Nickelodeon, Blizzard, all the big clients I'd always wanted to work with. So it's, you just working with great coaches and having really great mentors and friends in the voiceover community, like, that has really been my saving grace, to have that foundation. So that's kind of that's my story. That's my origin story.
Yeah. I love it. And just to piggyback off of what you were saying, because I said it at the start of the interview, like, you just stay hustling, and it's just like you're still hustling, and you got all that experience points, and then you leveled up. And I mean, I can say, because I'm a professional wrestler, it's kind of similar. When you get into the business, it's just like, you're kind of just, fighting for scraps and whatnot. And then it's just like, after years of being in it, you finally start getting to work with, like, the bigger names, and, people know who you are, and you can start moving to, working in different states and whatnot, which, sometimes, it's a lot of people that I know when I started in the business, like, they're not here anymore, because it's just like, it's not for everybody. And like how you said, it's just like, there were times where it's just like, you're just like, man, like, what am I doing? But it's just like, you had a good support system and whatnot. I always feel like, having a good support system will help you in the long run, because when you are feeling down on yourself, when you can call home, and then everybody at home, like, they're your cheerleaders, telling you got this. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
definitely.
really love that. I really
For a
love
second, I thought you was gonna say call Ghostbusters.
that. Hey, I mean,
And
well,
there's
we
something
are
out of the
getting into the
ordinary, and it doesn't look positive. Who are you gonna call? Operation Vanquishers.
That's
I'm
right.
afraid no. Previously carbon-based life form.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, like I just said, I love that. And we interview so many voice actors, and we hear the stories of moving from their home state to LA, and like
It's rough, man. It's rough.
Yeah,
Woo!
I heard, like, if you want to be a voice actor, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a musician, like, it's rough. Like,
Yeah.
you have to do so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
Cost of
just to
living's
make
way
it.
higher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so you
Oh
gotta-
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But like you said, all your life you've been fighting. So you know what I'm saying? You gotta keep doing it. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta keep balling, and now you're climbing that mountain. You're running up that hill, as we like to say here on Leveling Up.
That's right.
So, kudos to you.
Running up that hill.
Yeah,
I
running
know,
up that
hey,
hill.
we could talk about some Stranger Things. But no, I know that you had mentioned you did some theater stuff, and Trav. I know
I was
usually,
gonna come to it.
Here we
it's
go.
like I feel like we always wait to the end of the episode to talk about the theater stuff. So Trav, hey, I'm passing you the ball, bro.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
core
Yeah,
cut.
not just growing up. Is that something that you're still? Obviously, it may not be something you're pursuing for yourself personally, but are those still things you're enjoying? And
Oh, I'm
you
still
know-
going to plays all the time. Plays
All
and
the time?
musicals. I am a season ticket holder for Pantages. I go to the Canyon
Mm.
Theater Guild near me. I'm in Santa Clarita.
Okay.
I'm constantly going to plays and comedy shows. That's pretty much my jam. Yeah.
I got an artist that like Banks always be doing the plug. I'm a mix engineer, so I got an artist that lives out in Santa Clarita.
Nice.
And he sent me pictures of the place you're talking about, because they'll also be giving away tickets sometimes, like for free to like
Yep.
colleges and stuff. And his wife is like
Yeah.
a chef at a college, so they get free
Nice.
tickets all the time too. And he'll send me pics because he knows I enjoy that kind of stuff. But
Oh yeah.
what are you into now? Do you watch any of like the Hollywood adaptions or?
Oh, you mean of the plays that
Yeah.
like what? Like
Sweeney Todd. That's the only one I can think.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the first.
Yeah, no,
I
I've
mean,
seen that. I've
yeah.
seen they're hit and miss,
Yeah.
What's the new Spielberg one?
West Side Story?
West Side Story. I
Yeah, I
don't know
saw
why I was
that.
drawing a blank on the name. You didn't like it?
No, I saw it. I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
I never saw the original on
Oh, you
stage.
never seen the original. Gotcha.
On
So-
stage anyway, yeah. But it was enjoyable, yes.
Feel like you should
feelings
ask her
about-
about one more to see if we
Mixed
get a two
feelings
out of
about Phantom. I mean, I saw Phantom several times. That was literally my favorite of all time.
The Gerard
But the-
Butler?
With the UK cast, like the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the movie was like, ooh. I don't
No,
know how I feel about
I'm not a
this.
fan of the movie. And
Yeah.
my sister and my mom, that movie stayed in the DVD player, and I was just not a fan of like the more rockish renditions of songs that they
Yeah,
did. The
certain
play's a
things
lot
you just
better.
have to leave alone,
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So, Laila, I wanted to ask you, because you said that you lent your voice to like so many different projects and whatnot, anime, video games, cartoons. Like, what are some of your favorites? Like, what do you, not some of your favorites, but what do you like to do more? Like,
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, hands down, cartoons and games are the bee's knees. I mean, that's why I moved out here more than anything. That's what I wanted to do. Commercials and narrations and other things are always great, and they're great work. But my passion is always characters, and then if my character also sings, even better. If I can do. And the more cartoony, there's two kinds of characters I like. I like the really fun, cartoony, campy stuff, for Disney, Nickelodeon, those sorts of things. And then I like the really, raw, emotional, deeper characters like Sophia Falcone in Batman: The Long Halloween, because she's like a sympathetic villain, or any kind of character that like you can really tap into your psyche in a natural way, and it's not a caricature, it's not an exaggeration, it's just another part of yourself. It's like you become a conduit for these different sides of your psyche, and I love stuff like that. I I love opportunities to be vulnerable and to explore sides of myself that I don't normally get to in real life, which I think is what every actor likes. But especially that's why I like being villains so much, because you get to be powerful, but you get to also be misunderstood. You get to be all these different things, you know. Other than the lovable goofball or the kooky old lady. Those are my
the kooky old lady,
the badass warrior lady, or the or the girl just not sure what's going on, but I'm having a good time.
We enjoy a good Miss Croker, you know.
Oh, thank you, honey. Oh, I loved her so.
I wanted to piggyback. Are there any other roles that come to mind? You mentioned Miss Falcone from Batman and Long Halloween. Are there any other instances or characters that you can think of off the top of your head where you felt like that, where you could really get into it?
Oh man, yes, but they have not released yet.
NDA.
But yes,
we ain't gonna talk about it in here.
Yes,
no
but
worries.
there are a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
those are always really good.
Hell yeah.
Something that I wanted to piggyback off of, because like when you had mentioned Sophia, like are there any projects that you worked on, like the Long Halloween, for example, where you read the comic books or read the manga before working on the project?
Hadn't read that particular comic book. I mean, once I found out that I had actually, booked it, I was reading into it quite a bit.
Nice. It's a good comic too.
Yeah. And the story is just phenomenal. I'm trying to think if there's anything specifically that there's some that again that are in production right now that like I was that I grew up like watching and things like that, or like I was really a big fan, but I don't think, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything specifically that I was like I read the comic books or the manga for.
So,
I just want one last thing about doing Batman Long Halloween. What is that like though for you going in there before? What did you see as far as the production goes? Because I know y'all go in there before, so there's nothing.
No.
So what was it like when it finally released? Because it was like 2 years after you guys laid down vocals, right?
Yeah. So when I first read the script, I mean, I could see it all in my head. Like I could. It was so the scene descriptions were so vivid. I really did see it. And then the director was so great with showing me what he wanted. And it wasn't until towards the end when I started we did a couple pickup sessions, and I was in my home studio, and then they played a couple clips, and I got to see like the most epic clip, when her father dies, and
right.
Yeah, I got teary eyed. I was like, this is how I envisioned it in my mind, almost exactly, and it was crazy. And that's oftentimes it's like you're just living in your imagination, and then when you finally get to see it, you're like a kid in a candy store. It's hard to describe. It's like opening a present that you've been waiting years to open. It's the same thing when doing a character in a movie, and you just have like little still images, and you have no idea what it's going to look like, and then all of a sudden it's done. So yeah, it's a wonderful feeling.
Well, guys, if you don't mind me skipping ahead, was that what it was like for Chicken Hair?
Oh, I love Chicken Hair. Well, with Chicken Hair, I did get to see a couple scenes when we were doing the ADR when she's fighting against the gorilla and stuff like that. But getting to see it fully produced was like a whole other story. I was like, this is good. Like, this is fun. Like, I was really, really excited when that came out. Definitely.
Trav, plug the episode.
I thought you was going to, but yeah, we had the creator of Chicken Hair, Chris Grind, on the podcast well before this came out. So,
wow,
it just happened to fall into your lap, and we were finally able to get you on here to talk about it a little bit. But Chris went crazy for it. I don't know if you know Chris, or
not personally, no, but he did tag me on Twitter, and
he loved the movie. He did love the movie. Yeah, and that's always good when you get the approval from like the original creator.
Yeah, definitely. And I've talked to a lot of my friends that they said their kids have watched it like multiple times. I'm like, that's great. That's what we want.
It was in the top 10 on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on the top 10 for like a week, and it was so cool. I was like, yay, people like the movie.
And I still think if it wasn't on Netflix, let's say it was like a studio put the distribution behind it to put it in theaters, I think it would have been a more talked about cartoon, because I think it was one of, outside of Disney, it's probably the top cartoon I've seen so far last year.
Wow. Well, hey, that's high praise.
Yeah, me and the kids really enjoyed it. So, we watched it a couple of times.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, Miss Layla, I know we're kind of on a piggybacking and
no worries. Welcome to the ADD train where anything goes.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask if you could give anybody looking young, inspiring people trying to get in to the field, what are 2 tips you would give them right now? If you could give them 2 tips, what would you give them?
Okay. The first is, okay, I'm going to think very carefully how to say, okay. Do not rush into it. More important than anything else, it's quality over quantity. Do not rush into making a demo. Do not produce your own demo. Work with coaches until you get to a level where you feel like anything that you do on your demo, you can reproduce in 1 or 2 takes. There are so many people that are so eager to get into the business, and but they only want to do part of the work, or you have to be able to invest in it like any other starting a small business. You have to understand that if you want to be taken seriously in the business and be seen as a competitor, that you can't just throw something together and hope to get a lot of traction. And the other thing is this is a marathon, not a sprint. So you never want to put something out there that's only so, because your demo, anything that you put out on the internet, is your calling card. So that's the number one thing, is slow down, take your time, get as much input as you can. Find people that have been doing this a long time, listen to the demos that are on the top agencies' websites so that you know what you're competing against, figure out who you are and what you're best at, and what I'm sure you're great at multiple things, but not. The other component of that also is, don't put your eggs in so many baskets that you get overwhelmed. Figure out, start with what is going, if your goal is to get an agent, and not everybody needs to get an agent right away or has agents, there are people that get work on their own. But if your goal is to get an agent, for example, you want to have a commercial demo first, talk to people, listen to as many resources as you can, so that you're educated and you don't just jump in and say, well, I guess I'll give this a try, and throw spaghetti at the wall, and then and then shoot yourself in the foot later when somebody says, oh, I heard their demo 3 years ago. I don't want to listen. And the other thing I would say is, mental health is the most important thing, period, for an actor. Because when I started, I've struggled all my life with anxiety and perfectionism, and just feeling less than. Everybody has that imposter syndrome, but it took me a really long time. Part of it was working with coaches regularly, so that I didn't second guess myself, because my goal when I'm in the booth is just to play. But figuring out how to structure your day so that you feel grounded and in control, and not just like this starving artist who's jumping from thing to thing and trying to survive. Because I know the more creative you are, the more you need that side of the regular day-to-day stuff structured, at least for my brain anyway. I feel like having certain things in place that keep you motivated, certain things in your schedule that keep you going, whether it's this is the time when I work out, this is the time when I meditate, this is I'm going to work with a coach this many times this month so that I have good feedback. I'm going to whatever it is, having resources in place for your mental health is critical, because we are our worst enemy or our best friends. And creating that positive mind space. I literally had to tell myself positive things for years until I started to believe them, because I was so like, everybody's better than me, look at what this person's doing. Like, social media will bring you down this rabbit hole of like comparison. And you don't. I have so many friends going through that now, where they're like, they never feel like they're doing enough, and they never feel like they're worthy. And my biggest thing is, you are enough, and you validate you. And don't forget, it's not a competition. Everybody's journey is different. And that's one of the things that was, it just, and it takes a long time to internalize or to realize that, yeah, you know, we all bring something special to the table, and nobody's better than anybody else. We're just on a different journey. We all get there at different times. We all figure things out in different, you know, different ways.
Mhm.
That's right.
Great answer.
I love
Yeah.
that positive.
Phenomenal tips. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like
Yes,
I'm one
man.
of those type of people that says the same thing. It's just like we're all heading to the same destination. We're just
Yep.
we're taking different routes to get there. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
What destination is that?
To the top of the top of the mountain.
Be the number
To
one.
the
To the
hero.
top of the
Alright.
mountain.
I'll roll with that.
I hate everybody's trying to get to the top. You know, Macho
Climbing
Man
up
Randy
the
Savage
mountain.
used to always say the cream of the crop always rises to the top.
That's right.
Rest
And
in
that's
peace,
what I
Macho
say.
Man
If you have the
Randy.
talent and you have the persistence and you're stubborn as hell, you know, I mean, yes, it's and also extremely important that you're, you know, easy to work with and polite and all those other things, but
Yeah.
you it's all those different things, and it's not, and the biggest thing is just not giving up,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. And he also used to say, "Snap into a Slim Jim."
Never
Never forget those two
As
things.
old reliable used to say.
Old Reliable.
Recollect I haven't mentioned old reliable before. I
Yeah.
have
That's so funny because
frequently.
my youngest daughter's been on this. She calls them meat sticks.
Ah!
So she just every time we go somewhere, can I get a meat stick? Can I get
Can I get
a
a
Oh
meat
my
meat
God.
stick? I love it. I love
Oh my
it.
God.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to tell her to snap out of that.
Yeah, what is
You
he?
can snap out of it.
What is he? 70
Snap
years
out of that
old?
Slim Jim.
Yeah,
That's
snap
right.
out of
That's
that?
right.
No, but Laila, so the next thing I wanted to bring up is you know, when I was doing my research and whatnot, you know, I saw so many YouTube videos, and I just want to say that I'm somewhat of a stand-up comedian myself. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
Nice.
So you know, I just wanted to segue into that. Like, you know, how did you get into doing stand-up comedy?
Well, I had a friend who was taking classes over at Flappers in Burbank, and she told me about it. And as soon as she told me, it scared the crap out of me. And I was like, "Oh, it scared the crap out of me. I should do it." Because literally, like, I was like, "This is something I need to overcome." And it kind of was good timing because it, you know, it got me through like a really, really bad breakup and a whole bunch of other stuff in my life that were just crazy, and kind of gave me great material for all the stuff that was going on in my mind at the time to try to like make that productive. So I kind of went hard in it for about a year and a half. I've actually taken a break from it for now, just because, like I said, it was one of those things I pursued, and then it kind of, one day I was like, I felt like I didn't feel the urge, you know, to do it the way I did before. So I was like, I'm gonna wait till see if that comes back. But I really enjoyed it because it kind of allowed me to, you know, I do parody songs and got to do, you know, my different impressions and things like that. So it was a really, really kind of great way of organizing my thoughts in a fun, entertaining way, you know.
Nice.
That's
And I had a blast.
So who are some of your favorite comedians, past and present?
George Carlin,
absolutely.
Robin Williams. Robin Williams is my reason for everything, like literally
It's
Man.
everything in my life career. I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire and Aladdin.
I like to
that's
call him
like-
Genie. But,
Yeah, he is my genie. I'm gonna miss so many off the top of my head. Oh gosh. There's two.
first
I'll
two
name
were
them.
fire, so
Yeah.
Here recently, I've been really into Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yes, Mitch Hedberg's amazing.
Just so ahead of his time.
My brain. Why are you doing this to me? He's everywhere. Little Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, so
yeah.
good.
Because he dissects things in such a perfect way.
Absolutely.
The way
And it's
we're
clean.
thinking.
You know, you
Yeah.
can watch it with the kids.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. It's hard to
Yeah.
be funny for an hour and not swear.
Yeah,
at all.
well, I listen to a lot of
Oh,
dry
yeah.
bar comedy too, and
Uh-huh.
I can find a lot of gems in there. I love Eliza Schlesinger.
Oh yeah, she's so good.
She's really really good. I gotta think. There's too many. But that's just a couple. That's just a couple.
Okay, hey, those were good
Yeah.
answers. Right.
Now, I'm a huge stand-up fan, and what I love about stand-up stuff that you brought up earlier, they're not funny situations, but they just get spun in a way that we
Yes.
can just laugh about them because it's
Yes.
just
Eddie
easier to
Murphy.
cope
There
with
we
them.
go.
Eddie
There's my
Murphy,
brain. Eddie Murphy.
Classic.
And the old school
Classic.
SNL sketches.
Absolutely.
So many good.
It's like
comedians
you
came
think
through
about
there, so.
it, of course, like the times have changed and whatnot, but when you look at like some of the stuff Eddie Murphy did back in the day,
I
it's just like,
know.
how was he able to get away with it?
I know.
Like, it's Eddie Murphy, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of them back in the day that were really edgy.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It's just,
Like how you had said, Lila, like George Carlin, for example.
George Carlin was like, I mean, the filet
Like,
mignon of
yeah.
comedy. It was just like
Absolutely.
the level of truth that he brought us to was just unparalleled. And he's still today, like everything. I mean, just watch the documentary.
I was just about to ask you that if you
Right?
watched the doc.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was. I mean, it was so incredible because I mean, to learn more about his entire life and how he got to where he was and how he had that kind of identity crisis and then learned
Right.
how to really, you know, become himself and just speak from the heart and just how mind blowing it was that he did that. I mean, thank God that he did.
Mhm.
Can you imagine if he just stayed in that little cookie cutter, all those little roles, you know?
Well, I was gonna say, you know, he's known for the anti-religion, anti-government stuff, but his first half of his career, that was not George Carlin, you know.
No,
And
it wasn't. It
a
was
lot of people don't know that until they go and watch that doc, and
Yeah.
they're like, he has like two separate careers.
Yeah.
completely separate people. Completely
Yeah, but I
separate
feel
people.
like I feel like you hear that with a lot of comedians because like Larry the Cable Guy was one.
Yeah.
Michael Blackson, like when he
Mhm.
first started.
Right now,
didn't
Chappelle's stuff
Oh,
now
yeah.
versus Chappelle's stuff back then,
That's
very,
very
different.
true. Very different.
very different.
It's like
yeah.
it's kind of like you know, with wrestling, voice acting, comedy. You find what works for you. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because it's like if you do the same thing that everybody else does, then it's just like you're just going to be in a small pond with a bunch of fish. But if you do something different, like in
Yeah.
wrestling, one of the things that me and my tag partner always talk about is just like if you can make a fool out of yourself, people will remember that
Oh, yeah,
you
for
made
sure.
a fool out of yourself compared to everybody that's doing the same exact thing
Yeah.
the same night. Because there was one time we were at a tattoo festival and like you had all of these guys like just wrestling seriously, and then me and my tag partner went out there and we were just being idiots, and like everybody remember who we were. That's right. I became Japanese at that show too. Like I said that I didn't want to be American anymore. There was somebody there that was
Better
from
watch
Japan. Yeah, he was from Japan. And he gave me his flag, and I said, from here on out, I'm a Japanese citizen.
Wow.
And it's no more money shuffle. It's the yen shuffle now.
The
Wow.
yen shuffle.
I changed it up.
Wow.
But Trav D.
No, I was gonna
Go ahead,
kind of segue
Trav.
a little bit. My fault, D. But
No, I got you.
I brought up I got a couple kids, and you know one of big shows that we love. You know, just wrapped up Amphibia,
Yay!
and I can't wait. You know, for Zoe to hear this because she has no idea. You know, we got Miss Croker.
Her name is Zoe.
Yeah, her name's
That's
Zoe.
my niece's name.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey,
She's only
how's it
3
spelled
months
though?
old.
Is it just
Z-O-E.
Zoe?
Just COE.
See, mine's Zoey. We got the
Okay.
extra Zoe E. You know, if you will.
Zoe!
But doing something like that, because the two Disney shows that people talk about right now in today's cartoons is Amphibia and Owl House. And Amphibia just wrapped up. Owl House is coming to the end.
Yeah.
What was it like being a part of something that was so special and magical?
It was unbelievable. It was like, it was as corny as it's going to sound. It was my Disney dream come true. No,
Right.
it was, no, but it really was. It was like, for my first cartoon to be Amphibia, it was just insane, you know, and I would run into, you know, it was always usually single mic, but I would run into castmates in the hallway and just be blown away. Like, that's Kevin Michael Richardson, or that's
Right.
John DiMaggio, or that's, you know,
Bill Farmer.
Yeah, Bill Farmer.
You know?
I mean, everybody.
Goofy.
Yeah, it's this
Oof.
unbelievable cast. And then the writing was just
good.
so spot on.
Mhm.
You know, when it just hits and you're watching it and like you're an adult and you want to have milk fly out your nose, like that kind of thing. Like I was just, this speaks to so many people on so many levels. Like you don't get something like that very often. And so I mean, I was so honored to be a part of it. When I saw the audition for Mrs. Croker, I was so excited because I've had this old lady character that I've worked on for years, and I called her Granny Prozac because she was just this old lady who would say things like, "Did I ever tell you I used to be a mermaid? Oh, that was before they renewed my prescription. Give me my Prozac." So she talked like this, and then I saw the audition. I was like, or what if she was just a little bit more sassy? You know, why you? I think the line was, "Why you hooligans, ruffians, bilge water drinkers?" Or something. She gets what do you call it? Knocked over by Sprig, who's driving too fast. So my improv was, I went, "Why you hooligans, ruffians, millennials?" You know, and I had so much fun with that audition. And then I remember this was when I was still Uber driving.
Right.
I was on an Uber drive. I went to take a break, check my email, and my agent was like, "You booked Mrs. Croker," and I was like, "What?" And I was like about to cry. I don't have words. And so it was the most amazing time. I was so sad that, you know, it was a limited series. I wish this would go on for years and years and years. I hope and pray that Matt Brawley does spin-offs, that he does new series that we can work on together, because it was like being a part of a family, like an unbelievable Disney family that you always wanted, you never want to leave. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when the show first came out, I tweeted about it, and he quoted my tweet and told me thank you and stuff.
He's
and
so
I showed Zoe, and Zoe freaked out. You know what I mean? Like, it was super cool.
Oh yeah, and the fandom and the way that people have connected with the show and the artwork. I mean, everything. It's just
the songs. You know,
the songs.
TJ Hill just killing it with the theme songs every season.
Just, unreal.
I wanted to take a moment to bring up one of my favorite video games in a long time that I'm playing right now, and that's Genshin Impact.
Woo!
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You are
Genshin addict. High five.
Hell yeah. It's such a I tell them all the guys here on the podcast that it's such a beautiful game, scenery. The characters, I felt like all of you are, the voice actors and actresses are just spot on. What is it like being a part of that project?
I mean, you're absolutely. I mean, first of all, the game itself is. I can't stop playing it. Like, I have all these other games I could be playing, but I can't. You know, I just can't.
And it's such a peaceful play too.
It's so peaceful.
Yeah, you just run around.
When I had no idea that this game was going to blow up the way it did, or that the fandom and joining TikTok like got me through a big part of the pandemic, because it was like all of a sudden there's this whole group of people that want to hear from you, and that like, you know, dress like your character and then say something as my character, and then they animate it. Like, it's insane. So I mean, it's unreal. Like, it really, and what I'm also so grateful for is, like, and I've done a lot of, you know, been very fortunate to do a lot of great characters over the years, but it wasn't until Genshin Impact that I kind of had a character that was like, okay, now I feel like I can go to conventions. You know what I mean? It was like, now I have the thing.
Such a heavy favorite.
Yeah. So that's the other
character.
thing. But the game in and of itself, like, I could just play it for hours and hours and get lost in it. I have to like give myself a time limit, because
so many missions and stuff. It's just
so many missions.
Yeah, you can just sit and play. That's how you. I feel like those are the things that define a game, when you don't like, when time starts to escape you.
Time does not exist, and then everything is so intricate and beautiful. The music, everything from like the stained glass windows to the glowing mushrooms in Sumeru, to, you know, like to the little creatures that you're fighting, to, you know, your character's backstory. I mean, it's so, I mean, I don't have no idea, like, and they're constantly updating it. I'm just,
that's what I tell them. The support is amazing.
It is incredible. It's like nothing I've ever known. You know, so I'm super excited, not just to be playing it, but to be a part of it. Are you kidding? It's like, and it's so weird because I main Shao. So I'm just constantly hearing myself berate myself.
And we've been to a lot of cons lately and seen a lot of cosplays of it.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing in the world, is to just hang out with the cosplayers and dance around, do TikToks, play the kazoo, you know?
I bet. Congratulations on that one. Thanks,
Thank you.
I was just going to say, like, we hear so many amazing stories from the voice actors that we have up here, that talk about the Genshin fandom and like when they're at the cons and stuff, and like how
It's
you just
unreal.
said, just dancing with the fans and stuff like that, and fans bringing artwork and
They
whatnot.
bring artwork. Like they
Yeah.
spent out. Like there was one girl I met. She spent 50 hours painting.
Hey, give her a shout out. Is she on Instagram? You remember who it is?
I have to look it up off the top of my head because there were a lot of. I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, I believe it. The fandom is just super supportive. It's just amazing how it took off as a title. Because it was just and I think it came. Did it release the tail end of 19, or was it released in 20?
I feel like it was released in. Was it the tail end? I think it was
the tail end of 19.
2019.
Yeah, because I remember
it was really
people were talking about it when it first came out. Like
then it started exploding. Like 2020.
Yeah, like you mentioned. What a title to be playing through the COVID pandemic. Yeah. The brunt of it, or the primary time.
Yeah, because think about it. Yeah, because everybody was at home. Because I remember, like originally when it was going to come out, like people were pre-ordering it and whatnot, and then it became free to play. You know what I'm saying? So I just know that, so many people, they had time to play it. And like, I know friends that have played it and they've been like, yeah, like I spent over $1,000. I'm just like, $1,000.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
Hey,
I've definitely done that in Fortnite.
For real? You spent over $1,000?
A couple thousand for sure.
I will say that Genshin as a project, like I've mentioned to Trav too, off the podcast, is just that now they built it up to a point where if you just play the game, it'll pay for itself.
Yeah.
A lot of it will. And it's just, there's that much stuff to do. That many missions, quests.
Phenomenal. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with.
I just pick stuff that I want to do now.
Exactly.
And then I just do that and get off.
What you got time for?
That's
right. Yep. As the world turns.
Something that I wanted to bring up, and like this is like probably one of my most proudest achievements that we've done up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, is like one of my goals has always been to get everybody that was in my favorite part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, because I feel like we've interviewed like so many of the cast from that part. And that's my favorite part. And you were up there, you voiced Ken Onayagi, and I just wanted to know, like, how was it being a part of the JoJo universe? Because that fandom is crazy as well. I mean, these guys tell me I'm crazy for as much as I talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But
I haven't met any JoJo's fans yet, so I don't know. I like I said, everything right now is Xiao. Everybody that meets me is like Xiao, and occasionally Mrs. Croker. Like I've got other things that I have like available, but it's like, I mean. No, it's there. A couple that have mentioned my character, but I haven't like gotten to get the full brunt of the JoJo's fandom. I will tell you that recording session was a lot of fun, but also very, as you can tell, vocally stressful. It was just me being a brat and yelling and it was just so. I was like, now I'm gonna fight you! It was like so loud and screamy, but it was a blast. I was like, this show is out there.
Yeah,
like
that show's wild.
So wild.
It's over the top.
But any anime like that. I mean, the anime world in general and the anime fandom is like another world. You know, a totally other world. So it's exciting to be a part of any part of that. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like I had mentioned earlier, one of my goals was to interview everybody that's been a part of that, and unfortunately, we lost the incredible voice actor Billy Clement, who voiced Josuke on Diamond is Unbreakable. Do you have any stories of, Billy or anything like that?
I didn't know him personally. I've only known him through social media, but from what I've heard from other people, he was absolutely beloved, and incredibly talented.
Mm-hmm. That's something we hear a lot of. Like 20 years ago, it was a tight knit thing. Yeah. Everybody knew each other, but now there's so many people doing it now.
The majority of the people I will say that the majority of the people that I'm in projects with, I know, especially Genshin, especially like, I mean, some people more than others, but then there's so many other projects going on where you like don't even meet half of the cast, and you just kind of go in, do your one role, and then bounce, and then you find out, like all these other people that, about 50% of them I knew, and the other 50, I'm like, I have no idea who,
Yeah.
It is true. There's a huge group of people doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's pretty crazy.
I figured
humongous.
you know. But Trav?
So I want to bring up something because I'm trying to think of something recently that this has happened with before, but you were in Hunter x Hunter, and it went on hiatus, and now they're talking about rebooting it again. How does that work for? I don't know if you even know about this reboot, but how do you feel as a voice actor voicing a character and a reboot happens and they move on from that?
Oh, you mean like if they just recast and just go in a totally different direction, or
that tends to happen from what we've seen. Talk to other voice actors.
That's showbiz. It sucks if that's the case, but I don't own the characters. The writers and the creators do. So would I be a little butthurt and sad? Sure. Who wouldn't be? But it's not something I could control.
Is that even a character that gets brought up a lot? Just because you said the you don't really get the Jojo stuff a lot, so I'm assuming maybe
I've met more Milwaukee fans. Yeah, definitely people or people that have heard Milwaukee and then they're like, I think I know the voice actor for that, because then they'll hear a Shao and then be like, it's sort of in the same vocal register, just a more angsty, angry bully and a little lower pitched, No, I definitely and a lot of people will be. I get usually like, you voiced Milwaukee, that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I mean, it's kind of similar to Linda Young, because she voices Frieza and then she voices Genkai on Yu Yu Hakusho, and it's just for the longest time, like I didn't even know that, and then I know like Trav was like, how didn't you know?
Yeah,
I don't know, like it's like me getting into like who the voice actor was, like that was later in life. Like back when I was a kid, I was just like,
you're just watching. Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't even think of that, and I mean, even though I did subconsciously, but it wasn't like I was. We couldn't look things up the way we can now.
Exactly.
Now I'm constantly pausing whatever it is I'm watching. Who's this guy?
I do the same thing. I'm on that Wikipedia casting real quick.
Yeah, look, as soon as I finish watching a movie, I go right to Wikipedia and be like, well, what were like? They was in this movie. They were in this movie. They were in that movie. So,
yeah.
But no, that just goes to what I was saying 20 years ago. Funimation had like 5 people, so it's like, it wasn't hard for me to be like, yeah, that's Frieza, because it's the same person, versus now there's so many people and so many more opportunities going around, then just because the market's opened up for it too. So the budgets are a little bit bigger.
You always have some cases like with Brian Donovan and Davis and Rock Lee. They literally have very similar dialogue. Now it's different if somebody's throwing the voice 2 different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Like our guest here tonight.
You had brought it up earlier about finding what it is that you do and not putting all your eggs in all these different things. What is it that you feel like you do, as far as what are some of your bread and butter characters?
Badass ladies, androgynous characters, anything that's gender bending, because I do a lot of in like Rei Batsubami and Kakagori or Fanatio and Sword Art Online, they're both women that are pretending to be men, so I go really much deeper in my register. So that's something more unique I have, I think. A lot of old ladies, creatures, demons,
toads,
villains, frogs, but I think villains and badass is my number one, and then I do a lot of teen boy voices and things like that. Those are some of my my favorites, some of my bread and butters for sure. And just anything that involves gravitas, like a warrior, those kinds of things are usually like a powerful, powerful ladies. That's what we do.
So I'll go ahead, Trav.
No, you can go.
Okay. So I was just going to bring up some of the fan questions that we had got for you.
Yeah.
This one came from Kanada. They said, how was it to voice? I don't know how I'm supposed to read this. How was it look to be the voice of Milwaukee, and was it hard to get the role? There we go.
So Milwaukee, I remember I got the audition and I heard the the original track, and so for reference, and I sent it in, and I think that I think I also had a callback audition for that, where they just wanted me to make him a little tougher, little meaner, and then when I went in to record it, I was like, this dude is fun. Like, he's such a jerk. Like, this is so great. Like, I'm just like eating chips and torturing his brother. Like, this is so weird. So I had a blast doing it. It was it was just super fun. It was nice. It was like it's like he's like the big bully archetype,
Yeah.
But then there's this side of him where he's just like, kind of sort of like, he's just like, and in his little room eating his chips, like answering calls from his mom, like, arguing and fighting with his brother, and he's like, he's not that tough, but he comes across with all this bravado, which is what most bullies are. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Nice. All right, and then you kind of already answered this one about like who your favorite person is to voice act, but this one, it came from Bun to Bun, and it is, if you could choose one person that's your favorite, who would that be?
Oh, jeez. It's got to be Mrs. Kroger. It's got to be. If I had to choose, she's just so much fun.
Absolutely.
So much fun.
The whole family is.
Yeah. Oh,
the whole
yeah.
Family is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then this one comes from Misty Love 19, and they said, what makes you happy when it comes to voice act?
I think, as I mentioned before, either getting to go completely wild and crazy and as cartoony and fun as possible without restriction, or to get to do something that's more serious and vulnerable, and and where you can really dive in as an actor. But just anything where you're just laughing, uncontrollably in between takes is always a blast.
All right. The final one is from Polbeck Cosplay, and they want to know, do you have a favorite voice line with Chow?
Oh yeah, I have a couple. Obviously, once the snow is thick enough, we can eat it. And the one about sandwiches is, you expect me to place slices of meat and wrappings myself and then eat them together? Humans these days do not know what they are doing. And just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, if you awake to a knife at your throat, if monsters dig their claws into you, that comes knocking at your door. Call out my name.
Hell yeah.
Adeptus Shell. I will be here when you call.
Ciao.
Ladies and gentlemen, right there. Yeah.
This cat Chow.
Now, do you normally carry the kazoo with you, or?
Since I started doing videos of Chow with the kazoo, I always have it on standby. You never know.
You never know when you're gonna need a kazoo.
I've actually had a few people give me kazoo solos at cons, which was like the most
awesome
ever.
Love that.
Yeah, it was really great.
That's
now
awesome.
It's like always I try to always incorporate kazoo wherever I can into life because it's more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
Yeah,
you gotta play it backwards though, because you get a better sound. Like here's playing it normal. Here's playing it with the other. You hear the difference?
Yeah, it's a lot louder.
Hold on, you're supposed to play it from the other side?
Well, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
I've always played it like you're playing it.
Okay, good. Because it looks like, when you look at it, you think, it's this way just because of the way it's designed. But then you're like, wait, but it sounds stronger on this side. So I don't know. I'm sure I could meet a kazoologist and find out.
You're playing it wrong. It's supposed to be played the other way.
Do it. This is not the correct way. You must play it through your nose. But yeah, kazoos are fun.
Exciting times.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody for asking the questions,
yep.
And thank you, Laila, for answering those questions. So
Pleasure.
Now we are here at the end of the interview, and D, he always has his famous questions, but D, I'm going to tag along on adding a third question because we are going into the spooky season. So D, I'll let you take it away, and then I'll finish it up.
All right, first question: favorite 80s or 90s movie? Or both if you have one of each.
Ooh. Ah.
Right.
Well,
Bring
just
in the
because I'm a
stumpers.
total,
Yeah,
just because
here
I'm
we
a
go.
total Disney dork, I have to go with Lion King.
Hey.
Classic. I mean, that's it. That yeah.
The
Yeah.
remake, right?
Hell no. Come on.
Live action.
That's not
Oh,
90s.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, 80s. I gotta think about that one. I gotta think. Oh, wait. Was the Pee Wee Herman movie in the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, the
1989.
Pee Wee
I
Herman.
believe
Yeah, that was one
Big
of my
Adventure
favorites.
came
That was
out.
one of my favorite. Yeah, that was one of my
Hell
favorites.
yeah. Oh, great picks. Great
Yeah.
picks. And second question for me is going to be: growing up, was there anything that spooked you, scared you, and stayed with you? Whether it was creepy lullaby, weird dolls,
Ooh.
creepy neighbor,
Haunted Kazoos.
yeah, haunted kazoos,
You know, anything.
haunted instruments, Michael, yeah,
Michael, a guy in the trench coat.
What maybe
Talking
a Gouter
frogs.
Okay, you remember the movie The Craft?
Oh, of
Yes.
course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that movie stuck with me. A lot of scenes from that movie. Like years
Wow.
later, I was like, all right, but yeah, that movie really, really.
Yeah,
creeped
they
me
got
out.
kind of creepy too.
Really, really
Yeah,
creeped
some
me
of the stuff.
out. And
Did you see
when
the
did
remake?
Chucky come out? The Chucky movies, even though I loved the Chucky movies, they still freaked me out. They
That's
still
wild.
freaked me
Yeah, same. Like everybody's talking about Chucky right now because you know the new season
All
is
I-
about to come out. And
out. Oh my god.
Look, all I remember from the Chucky movies is he had a foul mouth. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I know he was taking people out, but he was a foul little dog.
Yes, he was.
Foul
I'm just
little
like,
dog.
Jesus.
Constantly melting
How did you-
and blowing up and
Yep.
how did
Yeah.
you feel about the Child's Play remake that came out with Mark Hamill in it?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry.
It's all- I mean,
it's okay.
I thought it was a good. I mean,
I
I
have
know
the
It's
guilt.
okay, bro.
some people
No,
didn't like it. Some people didn't like it. Some people liked it. I thought
Yeah, it's on
It's
my
not
it's on my
terrible.
huge
Yeah,
list
it's
of stuff
okay.
to stare with. But I definitely want to check it out for sure.
Right.
it was. Mhm.
Yep.
All right.
And Banks, back to you.
Yeah.
To piggyback, like, how do you? Because you said the Lion King was one of your favorites. Like, how do you feel about the announcement of the Mufasa movie?
Oh, I'm super excited. Super
Same,
excited. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Get that
Yeah.
prequel. I just know
Yes.
that they better have some bomb ass music in it. That's all I
And-
know.
And they're keeping James Earl Jones, right? They've got to keep James
They
Earl
better.
I would
Jones.
assume
There's no other Mufasa in the world. That
Absolutely.
will compare.
Yeah, we
Well, I
don't want
think Keith David played Mufasa on the show.
Mm.
Really?
And we could substitute Keith David if
That's
for
not
whatever.
Keith David
reason.
is
It's acceptable.
incredible
Yeah,
vocally.
it's not that
Oh my
bad,
gosh,
yeah.
but I want the tried and true original
I-
OG
Oh, for
Mufasa.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. You
No,
have to have
I'm-
James Earl Jones.
I love all of that stuff. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like, it was
And how about
people-
the Little Mermaid? I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. I can't wait to see that. You know, I was gonna say it just to piggyback off of James Earl Jones. Like, it was cool hearing him in the Obi-Wan show. I was like,
Mhm.
yes, it's just like
Yes.
you're gonna bring back Darth Vader. Gotta
Yes.
have James Earl Jones.
And you know what?
Yes.
You know what's crazy is everybody knows I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but everybody calls me crazy because I always knew him as the old man from the Sandlot movie. Because like I was such a Sandlot fan as a kid.
Sandlot,
I thought you was gonna say the old man from Meteor Man because
Oh,
that
well.
was the first time I had saw him in a movie.
Mm.
hmm So, you know, like I said, because we're in the spooky season now, the final question that I have for you is like, what do you love to celebrate it? Like, and what do you love to celebrate the spooky season?
What do I love? Well, my tradition, the only tradition I have that is always stuck is I watch Hocus Pocus every year.
Hey,
Fun fact,
Yes.
I am a voice match for Winifred Sanderson, and you can hear me in Carvel commercials as her, as well as a Disney short called The Brew, which is like The View, but with the Sanderson
sick.
sisters.
That's awesome.
nice.
And
Man,
so I
that's
still, I occasionally, maybe they'll call me back this year for that. So on the Halloween, I'm always like, do I get to do another commercial? You know?
Hell yeah.
But Hocus Pocus has always been like my go-to movie to watch. I like other Halloween movies, but Hocus Pocus
Yeah.
is like I have to watch that no matter what. No
Absolutely.
matter what. Yeah.
Are you excited about the sequel? I'm sorry, D.
No.
I'm so excited about the sequel. You have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm
who's
so
not
excited.
excited about the
Yeah.
sequel?
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, everybody's talking about it. I mean,
Well,
I know
because I was gonna say for us kids that grew up with Disney Channel original movies, they did an Under Wraps remake.
I saw that.
It was really good. So
Mhm.
like, I'm really stoked for this Hocus Pocus. Too.
Yes.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
Super
that,
Stocus for Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
the one that I liked that Disney did that doesn't really get talked a lot about, as far as I know, is Halloween Town. The original.
Oh, yeah, of course, Halloween Town.
Now it
I
doesn't,
like
but
that
back
movie
in
a
the
lot.
day, people used to talk
yeah.
about
Nightmare
it
Before
back
Christmas. Almost forgot. Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
But, yeah.
hell yeah.
then.
So,
Those two.
wonderful answers. Wonderful answers.
Yeah, great answers.
And then one last thing I wanted to say before we wrap this thing up,
Yeah.
because you mentioned Hocus Pocus. We interviewed Jason Marsden, who
Oh, yeah,
voiced
that's
Binks
right.
the cat in the Hocus Pocus movie, and you
yeah.
can check out that interview.
Max Goof.
It's on the podcast, or you can watch the video up
The
here.
goof.
The
Max.
goof.
And I ain't talking about Jared Goff either.
So
So-
we are here at the end of the interview. Lila, thank you so much for joining us up
Absolutely.
here.
Thank
You
you.
are an awesome guest. You are welcome. Before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Sure. Well, I have a lot of different handles because I did that before I knew to just make them all the same. So the easiest way, so if you want to find all my social media, it's on LailaBerzins.com. If you're listening to this, not watching this, it's LailaBerzins.com. But yeah, on TikTok, I'm Laila Berzins Voice. On Instagram, I'm Laila B_voiceovers. On Twitter, I'm L_Berzins_voices. You see where it gets confusing.
Hell yeah.
And then on YouTube, it's just Laila Berzins voiceovers. But if you Google Laila Berzins voiceovers, you will find me.
I thought you were about to hit him with the Hollywood and say Google me.
Yeah.
And
Google
me.
me. Google me. You find me on this stuff. You'll
love
find
it.
me
I love
watching my soaps. Eating my bonbons.
I think the last soap opera just got canceled.
Nuh-uh.
Oh no!
Is it One Life to Live? I think it's either that or
they're
General
done.
Hospital.
Like they're
but
done,
either way,
Trav? Like gone?
it just got canceled. It's supposed
Wow.
to be moving over to Peacock, so it's not going to be
Wow.
on television no more. The soaps are over with. Those days are
That's
gone.
crazy.
Wow.
Well, I just
You
always
got
picture that
reality
Mrs.
TV?
Croker watches a lot of soaps. You know, like
Wow.
oh Bartholomew, how could you? You're
Oh.
so much hotter than Brad.
Oh man. All right, Trav, let everybody know where they can find you at.
That's right. I'm on the Instagram at ZK Audio, and I'm on the Twitter at TRAVIOSEK. D. San Fran, where they find him, man.
As usual, you can find me at rebellious_D23 Instagram.com. And Banks, Halloween's coming up. If they need a hero for the spooky season, where can they find one?
Hey, you can find me at Harold Benjamin Banks at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you all for watching this interview. Please make sure that you follow Lila on all of the social medias that she just named.
Google.
We'll have them
luck.
down below
Good luck.
in the description.
Yeah. Where on earth is Carmen San Diego?
Hey, in the world is
Mhm.
oh, tell me.
Hey.
See, all right, now I like that song, but I also like the 90s cartoon where it was like, well,
Yes!
earth is Carmen San Diego.
The warrant.
That was well,
No, this
earth
guy.
can she be? I like to sing too, but we're here at the end of the interview. Around
Yep.
the world, we're known as Three Town, and
Oh,
right.
God.
but yeah,
Well.
also everybody. You can also look down below in the description where we have the link to our podcast, where we have brand new episodes every Tuesday. And the video of that episode is up here on YouTube on Friday. So like I always say every time, keep that pinky up, stay safe during the spooky season, and we'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.